What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edged Mindset. Got an unboxing for you. Maybe you can tell by the title, maybe not. Depends on how I title this thing. If I go clickbaity or if I go real, I don't know what I'm going to call it. But I've got a Colt Steel here, and it's been a while since I've gotten a Colt Steel. And so I got a wild hair. And actually, I picked one up. It was probably the most obnoxious. Okay, here's the thing, right? Backstory. I'm going to get so much crap for like rambling. But I picked up probably the most obnoxious. Oh, look at that. Right on the cover. We know what it is. It is the Frenzy. But I picked up the most obnoxious Colt Steel release in recent memory. And that's not this. But that got me so excited. I'm waiting for that one. It's coming in a few days. Super excited about it. That got me so excited that it made me kind of look into some of the Colt Steels that I haven't picked up that I've wanted. And this is one of them, the Frenzy. I'm really excited about this. It's actually the Frenzy 2. I hope I like it as much as I think I will. I got this on Amazon, as you can see. So one of the concerns there is always, is this legit? So if there's any Sherlock Holmes sleuths out there that know, I assume there's probably fakes of the Frenzy. If anybody knows how to tell any telltale signs, so far it looks pretty good. Box looks good. It's got the embossing of the new Colt Steel. It's got the new Colt Steel logo. Everything looks good, but you can never be too sure. This is huge. I knew it was going to be huge, but this thing is massive. I love that G10. Look at that G10. That is sick. You don't see this kind of two-tone G10 on Colt Steels often, hardly ever, only a couple models. And this one looks really cool. It has these grooves in the side there, you can see, so you get all this cool pattern. I love the blue. I love the black. And look at this Wharncliff blade. This thing is bananas. Let me grab a rag here, wipe it down once again. If anybody can verify for sure that this is legit and not fake, looks good so far. S35 VN steel right there. Feels super sharp. Let's try sorry if my fingers are shaking. I just got done lifting weights. Oh my gosh. Triad lock. This thing is featherweight, man. Feather freaking weight. Let's get a weight on this thing just for fun, even though I think it's on the box. I'll show that in a minute, but 5.7 ounces for like a 6-inch blade or something. Let's take a look at the specs here. This thing is wicked. Blade length 5.5. This is 5.7. What did I just say it was? I just did my own weight. What did I say it was? I don't know. Okay, I shouldn't do that on a handkerchief. That says, 5.7. I get the exact same weight. That is pretty cool. But it feels way lighter because of the size maybe, or how slim it is. But you can see that it's just solid G10 with the triad aluminum. I assume this is aluminum backspacer. That's what the typical construction is. But look how slender this thing is. Let's compare it to this guy, pivot to pivot. Look at that thing. I can't wait to try to carry this. The only thing I wish is that it had the new Atlas lock. I wonder if, it doesn't seem like Colt Steel is going to kind of migrate their existing designs to the Atlas lock. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is there. That would be kind of cool to do an Atlas lock version of all these. Similar to how they used to have the Ultra lock on like the AK-47. And then the AK-47s turned into the Triad lock, as we know and love today. It would be cool if they moved all these to the Atlas lock, because right here, especially these bigger knives, because the Atlas lock is kind of in this same position, kind of lower, it works really, really well. So that would be cool. Look at all the reach. Look at all the reach on this thing. So what is this knife for? Being cool. Look how cheesy that logo is. How dumb is that? Man, they got the stupidest logos. Colt Steel. Well, I mean, the name is pretty dumb, but the font, look at that. Just say Frenzy in like a normal font, if you got to call it the Frenzy. I don't know. This and ADV Tactical has the worst blade branding fonts, I think, known to man. Like, literally Comic Sans and things like that. It is ridiculous. So for those that have followed me for any length of time knows, I'm a sucker for Cold Steel. I struggle with less expensive, affordable knives in general. I've tried to get into the Wies and some of the Riots and Civivi. Some of those, I just can't quite seem to do it. It's appealing because obviously I would save a ton of money and I could try out a bunch of new different knives, and there is some cool stuff those companies do. But I can't get past kind of the cheaper quality aspect. But Cold Steel, for some reason, has always not had that. I haven't had that issue with Cold Steel. I still tend to really like them, even their more budget versions, right? Generally, I like the ones that have like the S35VN. They're a little bit nicer for Cold Steels that they've been doing recently. But I even like the Voyagers and things like that. They're just fun. I don't know. They're just fun. And even though they're kind of more inexpensive, ergos are pretty good on this thing. I like them. I don't know. I always have. Maybe it's, I used to really like just Andrew Demko as a knife maker, as a knife designer. And so he was the primary designer for Cold Steel when I got into Cold Steel. And I don't know. I've just always kind of had a soft spot for Cold Steel, and I'll get into them for a little while and then I will fall out of them. The other fun fact about me and Cold Steel is my Cold Steel collection is one of the only collections that has remained relatively intact since I started collecting knives. Because of the fact that they're a little more inexpensive, I'm less motivated to try to sell them because, after their pre-owned price reduction and I go to sell them, I don't make that much. They're just not, I don't want to sound douchey and say it's not worth the effort, but kind of, $60, $50 for a lot of them, even less, $20. I just tend to not try to even sell those. Whereas my more expensive knives, $300, $400, $500, it's a lot easier for me to say, yeah, cool, put that out for sale. And then I get a chunk of change, a big chunk of change. And so a lot of my more expensive knives are the ones that I end up selling because I just want the cash. And my Cold Steels I've had for the longest. I've got some pretty old Cold Steels, and I've got some that I wish I wouldn't have sold, like my Immortal. I sold that one. I shouldn't have done that. Really cool. This is just so striking. Sorry I went on that tangent there. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted this thing. I mean, that G10, I don't know, happy accident. It's some of the coolest G10, this pattern on here that I've seen on knives in a long time. And it's contoured, right? It's not flat G10. Obviously, that's why you get this other black layer coming through. Really, really cool. This Frenzy is something else. I wish they did a mini Frenzy. I don't know why they don't. I think that would be a huge seller because this thing is obnoxiously big, right? It's like a lot of Cold Steel knives. It's primarily like a defensive oriented type thing. This one doesn't have the wave or anything, but this isn't really a practical cutter. I mean, obviously you can. Flat ground, pretty thick behind the edge, razor sharp though. It's got a pretty nice wide secondary bevel. So I'd imagine this thing cuts reasonably well, but it's not a slicer, right? I mean, this isn't really a taking down a bunch of boxes kind of knife, but it's just cool. You don't see big Wharncliffs like this too often. So glad I picked this up, and the weight on this thing is something else. The stability of Cold Steel knives is one of the reasons I like them too. Despite the fact that this is quite thin, super lightweight, it's rock solid in all directions. Like, it feels like it's one piece. And I'm not going to go into the triad lock. That's been spoken about to death, but yeah, this is cool. This is cool. All right, guys, I've rambled on long enough. Pick this baby up. I think I got it on Amazon. If I remember, I'll put the actual link down there. I got it on Amazon for like $115, brand new, best price I could find. Pick one up. It's pretty sick. All right, guys, catch you later. I'm out.